among other things, there's always two ways to do anything. Two ways. And the fucking thing is that both those ways contradict each other, right? So in sales, you can be consummate professional. Well, hello, sir, and you show up with a tie and you're like, you know, reading the script essentially is what it is. I'm a telemarketer right now. I don't mind saying that shit. It's the hardest and the best job in the fucking world. The best part of it probably is that people think it's shit. And going to a social party and saying you're a telemarketer, that doesn't hold any wind. And that's why you should do it. Hey, listen, don't look down on them guys. Fucking try that shit out. You can't even think about trying it out. It's inconceivable. That's why I love that shit. To call it a challenge is like, it's like scratching the paint on the surface of a glass that's reflecting reality and getting a peek of something and saying, now I know what it is to experience reality, or now I know what's real and what's not real. Listen, I'm talking about my dad. My sister, she's like a botanist or some shit. She has a bachelor's in botany from Kinnaird College, best college in fucking Pakistan. And my dad got me into H's in college. Dan's emailing me again. Dan's going to be so pissed off if he ever sees this shit. First of all, there's this beautiful dog on here, which is my new desktop. And I'm going to show you that. This fucking animal is incredible. Blind guy had brought this thing onto a bus, and I was just petting and stroking it the whole time. Look at it. It's like a damn lion. I offered this fucking thing a sausage. It didn't take the sausage. I fucking couldn't believe it. People were looking at me. They couldn't believe this shit. A dog refused a damn sausage. Why? Because it's well trained. I just wanted to hug that shit. You know, and I loved on it, and it loved on me back, and it fucking posed for me and everything. So we go to the fucking thingy here, inbox, and all right, my wife texted me something nasty, no doubt. But Dan is like, do me a favor, don't stop praying for me. If I ever make it, I'll get you out of your situation. Okay, so Dan's the man, and then he's like, Fido, Bell, Rogers. What cell provider is she? Wind, some shit like that. Alright, so I'm telling Dan that I don't know if this is okay, it looks like it is in focus. You're in luck, man. This shit seems to be working out pretty good. I guess it's like the iPhone 4. It actually is not a bad deal, because I did this kind of shit with my 3GS or 3G or whatever the fuck it was. Who cares about letters and numbers? Anyway, I remember like my feature-length movie, it's called I Want to Make a Movie, and the subtitle is something like Amway Evolutionism in Islam. I got like 150 odd people who've watched that shit. And I tried this on there and it wasn't working, and I was looking at graphics, and this is not too bad at all. The resolution is pretty chipper. So wind, that goes off to Dan. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna film myself talking to Judith, and I'm gonna tell you right now, she's gonna ream me out for buying her this iPhone. Do you understand? Like, I'm calling it my iPhone because I know she doesn't want it, because it's got 16 fucking megs. It's got 16 megs or gigs of fucking data, and she wants 64. And I'm trying to explain to her that it's actually counterintuitive if you just give it some thought. If you have 64 megs worth of fucking pictures on your shit, you're fucked. There's no way you're going to transfer that anyway. Unless you buy like an 80 gig external hard drive, and then what you're going to do with that shit, right? You can't upload it anywhere. There's no cloud space that's going to give you 80 gigs. I mean, Google will give you 80 gigs for Picasa, but you're paying $20 a year, right? And okay, so you want to hold these fucking photos for how long, right? Anyway, Dan's emailing me. I'm just going to, like, it doesn't matter. I'm not like trying to explain shit to this girl, and she's like, she's mad at me for picking up a phone. And here we go. Here's her, like, okay, so what I do sometimes is this. So Dan emailed me. So I'm not going to open her message, right? So what supersedes verbal communication? What supersedes, basically, I'm a marketing man. You may be familiar with my website, salesandmarketingforyou.com, separated by hyphens. There's a thing called integrated marketing communications. And what it means essentially is you're using a multi-channel approach. You've got fucking texts. You've got social media, you've got in-person, verbal, fucking sending people flyers, all this shit. But of course there's a hierarchy. But what is that hierarchy? I've closed a $40,000 deal with a voicemail, let's say. I've closed multiple, like, 4-figure deals via email. Why? Because I'm the man. I did that shit at Active State and Oracle. What's Active State? Who gives a fuck? Active State's the Pearl Company, P-E-R-L. All right, so I'm going to call Judith, going to attend to Dan's text, going to get the fuck on a bus out of here, and hopefully not end up missing the damn bus and having a bike out there. That's really my plan at this point, folks, or dear viewer. So, okay, so I go down here. So basically, I'm not going to read her text, and the way I get away with it, I'll come back to that shit, but I'm just going to call her. Hey, listen, if you texted me, then why are you not going to take my call, which is a big possibility? Speakerphone on, volume should be at 7. And I'll just turn it around so that you can listen to this, and let's see what happens. It's ringing. And like, she just texted me 5 minutes ago, so why won't she pick up?
Hello?
Hey, sweetie, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So
What happened?
what happened is that I am actually right now making a movie on your new iPhone of me talking to you. What do you think about that?
So, well, it doesn't matter. Because I told you that I got an iPhone, right? And I am waiting to get it on the mail, right?
Would you just
Did I tell
repeat,
you that?
baby, would you just repeat that, please?
No.
Sweetie, what are you talking about? I just spent like $160.
How many GBs has the phone?
Can I say something to you, please, baby? How many pictures did you have on the iPhone that was stolen? Okay, let me explain it to you. Just give me 1 minute. You had about 3,000 pictures, okay? Now, here's the thing. 3,000 pictures might be, let's say, 20 gigs. By the time you filled up 64 gigs with pictures, you're totally fucking screwed. You understand? The thing to do, baby, is to sync up your iPhone with iCloud so that the pictures automatically go up onto the internet. And it doesn't matter then if you've got 8 gigs or 4 gigs or 2 gigs or however many gigs. 2 gigs is a lot. 64 gigs is way too much. And that's all I need to say. This is 16 gigs, baby. I can't pay $160. It's so damn beautiful. It's got a beautiful plastic green case and a real Apple case, right? It has no scratches. It's factory reset. It's got a passcode on it. It looks exactly like your iPhone. 16 gigs, who cares? Your photos, like, hey, by the time you have 1,000 photos, you should upload them. You shouldn't leave it lying around, right? So, babe, I gotta go. I can't talk to you. My head is about to blow up right now. I got this guy texting me back now, like he owes me something, and he's coming back, and that something is weed, because you fucking driven me insane, and I'm saying goodbye, and I'm gonna go smoke some weed, and see you later. Sorry. All right, so that's that. And Danny's calling me and all this shit. He said his battery's low earlier, right? So, you know, I don't want to use up too much of his juice, but all right, so let's see what he says. I mean, I don't mind sharing everything with you. You might need to take to phone a wind or somebody, unlock the carrier. All right, so that doesn't need a reply. The earlier text, go into settings, general, system update. Back. I'm just going to send him a thank you. And by the way, here's the text from my wife. And you know, to say 50-50 it's shitty is giving her the benefit of the doubt. Look at this. Remember that I told you I already got an iPhone. I'm just waiting for arrival. Well, that's a neutral note. That's information, right? You got negative, you got positive, you got neutral. The fucking scientists, they forget about neutral. And in a way, they're right. There is no neutrality, but they're fucking idiots. There's no such thing as nothing, by the way. There's no such thing as... I got to say thank you, man, to Dan. There's no such thing as nothing. There's no such thing as infinity, right? And there's no such thing as something coming from nothing, right? So the universe came from somewhere. You know what these damn bozos will say? They'll say all kinds of shit. They'll say there's an endless series of collapsing and expanding universes. This is the latest thing I heard. Like, there's all kinds of guys saying all kinds of things, obviously. So there's a book called... It's a great book, by the way, don't get me wrong. And I'm not saying the guy's an atheist, because he uses the word creation in terms of the Big Bang. He says at the point of creation, everything was a singularity. Now here's the problem with the singularity. It's almost an infinitesimally dense and small, minute particle / point of everything, essentially. All the known universe was essentially this dot. But here's the problem. It becomes problematic when you start throwing around shit like it's so small it has no dimensions. Like K, I hope you can see my damn expression. It's like, oh, it's so small it has no dimensions. So the scientist says that, and we say this, oh, God is so amazing that he can't be conceived of. And you know what? A God that can be conceived of, by the way, is not worthy of worship. Do you understand that, right? I don't know if Craig would understand this, but for the fact that, you know, as I mentioned, he was a religious lad, very devout. You'd be like, you must have read up on him. I'd be like, you're a damn idiot. You're a damn shit. I told you earlier that he's got good principles, and they're sound religious principles. I bet you a dime to a bent nickel, and I know they're equally worthless in your damn eyes, that what I say is true. He was a nice lad. He might have been a damn altar boy. Maybe he was molested by some of these fucking pedophile priests, which is why he turned out to be homosexual. And by the way, I'm a Muslim, hardcore guy. I couldn't, there are few things I abhor more than homosexuality. I go around talking about how Toronto's the new San Francisco and how the Caravana Carnival, I know that's not the gay parade, and I don't mind that shit because I don't know nothing about it. The Caribbean Caravana Festival out here in Toronto is like basically the worst display of decadence I've ever seen in my life. Fucking naked ladies up and down the whole place. That's all it is. Waggling their booties and all this rubbish. You take your kids to that thing and then you're like, okay, you got to dress appropriately now to go to school. It's all nonsense. You don't realize how hypocritical it is. So, singularity and nothing is according to my Muslim convert friend from Ghana, he's like, you got to take that word out of the dictionary. There's no such thing as nothing. And therefore, based on my own self-made law of opposites, which is essentially all self-evident stuff, everything in the universe has an opposite, and you go from there. Everything in the universe has opposite, and they're equal opposites because there's one God who created both of those opposites. How does that sound to you? You'd be like, it's nonsense, it's jibber jabber. Well, let me say this to you. Just as there's no such thing as nothing, hence there's no such thing as infinity. And I don't even have to think about that stuff. You might need to think about it, and I'd advise you to, but I'd also say, I'd warn you against overthinking it. So we're going to text Dan, and you know, I'll take my leave. I think I've said everything I need to. So south of Steeles is Toronto, the city. North of Steeles at this point is, you know, it's a toss-up between Richmond Hill and Vaughan. But Vaughan, you know, is a great city. It's a love-hate thing. I was saying earlier, there's no love without hate, etc. Love is the greatest delusion too, by the way, according to Imam Ali, peace be upon him. He was the cousin and the son-in-law of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his family, married to his daughter, the lady Fatima, the peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon her. You'll be like, how can you mention these names, these holy personages, as well as swearing and all this rubbish? Well, here's the thing, I just did. So why are you questioning or judging what I did from a moral perspective without applying your reason to what I'm saying? All right, well, he said, you know, subhanallah, glory to Allah who created a universe of opposites, by the way. And that's just one thing that he said among many thousands of fucking speeches of his that are out there. You understand? You got to read his book of sermons. If you're listening to this, you really got to go and Google Imam Ali and look for Peak of Eloquence. In Arabic, it's Nahjul Balagha. Nahjul Balagha. Nahj would be the peak, I guess. I'm not familiar with the word in any other usage or context. Balagh, you know, the Quran says, وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغh. Like all the messengers of Allah, the prophets, so to speak, have all said to their people, our only mission, our only duty or obligation is to preach, to proclaim our message. What you do with that is up to you. It really is up to you. The Quran says as much. Do what you want, basically. Do whatever the hell you want. But remember, you're going to have to account for what you've done. And like Iron Maiden would say in Can I Play With Madness? In this world, the next. Oh, then he fixed me with a freezing glance, and the hellfires blazed in his eyes. He said, you want to know the truth, son? Lord, I'll tell you the truth. Your soul's going to burn in a lake of fire. I'll come back to Vaughan at some other point in time. I love fucking Vaughan. Just look at my video, Vaughan rant, okay? Well, these fucking cretins up here, man, they're throwing away designer luggage.